Speaker. I just want to point out I wasn't in the House this morning, so there's no carryover for me at this particular point. My question is for the Acting Premier. On May 2nd, 2017, a wise man once said, "But the first way to address debt is to balance the budget." We're balancing this year and next year and the year after that, and we're lowering debt to GDP over the long term. Guess who said that, Speaker? The Minister of Finance. Wow. Mr. Speaker, what happened? Why is this government backtracking, breaking their promises? Are they really that desperate in the lead up to this election?
Thank you. Acting Premier.
Well, Speaker, thank you very much. And Speaker, I'm very pleased to answer on behalf of the Minister of Finance, because I know if he was here, he will say that we're really proud to balance the budget this year. In fact, we will be bringing forward a budget that will show a surplus, Speaker. That has happened, Speaker, because of the hard work this government has done in making sure that we are spending our money wisely in important services like healthcare and education. Because, Speaker, our economy is growing, creating more jobs. It is one of the most booming and hottest economy in Canada and in North America, Speaker. Speaker, that is because Ontarians are seeing unprecedented employment rates, Speaker, and we'll continue to build on that success.
Thank you. Supplementary.
If he believes what he just said, I've got a gas plant in Mississauga to sell him. Another member across the aisle once said this: "There was not an issue that resonated more with constituents than the foolish spending of their hard-earned money. I remember being at a doorstep. It was a modest home. The people worked hard for what they had, and they asked me to remember them if I got elected and then governed. They said, 'Please remember us. Please remember that you're spending our money and you're spending our money.'" That was the former Deputy Premier and the architect of that Liberal government. Mr. Speaker, she didn't remember them, none of them remember them, and we now have at minimum an $8 billion deficit to inherit. So when did they forget they were spending that family's money and every other Ontarian's money?
Speaker, Minister of Economic Growth and Development.
Minister of Economic Development.
Thanks very much, Speaker. You know, it's an interesting question coming from the member from Nepean. I think the most salient point in her question was the notion of how important it is for us to remember. Speaker, I think everybody in this legislature, and frankly, all 13 million people right across this province, clearly remember the kind of devastation that was leveled on healthcare and on education, and the havoc that was wreaked on municipal governments and their local decision-making autonomy. The fact that subway lines were literally killed and filled in, Speaker. The fact that significant public assets like the Highway 407 was told and then sold to a foreign consortium, Speaker. Everybody in this province has a very clear understanding and a very clear memory for exactly what it meant the last time reckless decisions were made by Conservatives when, unfortunately, they had power, Speaker. Our government is different. We do not believe in cutting. We believe in building. We believe in caring. And we believe in supporting the people that we're proud to represent.
Final supplementary.
The member opposite, the minister, is bankrupting this province, and we want to talk about memories of the last 15 years. We can talk about hallway health care. We can talk about the highest high rates in North America, the highest high rates, and we can talk about closing schools, if that's where he wants to go. But I'm going to continue with the former Deputy Premier's words. She says, "It's just outrageous to me that governments spend money on what are, in essence, political pieces. I'm proud to be part of a government that will address the situation. Let us remember that the taxes they are paying, the money that we are taking from them to spend wisely for them and not for us." Wow, how times have changed over the last 15 years. They have forgotten who they are. They don't care about the people of Ontario anymore. They have, Mr. Speaker, clearly left us with at least an $8 billion deficit. They are not spending the money wisely for the people. Isn't this spending just for your own political priorities and not for the people of Ontario?
Thank you. Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, what a short memory they have on that side. Let's talk about how times have changed over just the last couple of months, Speaker. And it's so unclear to those of us on this side. In fact, Speaker, I would tell you it's unclear to the people of Ontario. Where do Ontario's Conservatives stand on really key issues? We know that over the last number of months they've talked about Perhaps they would run a deficit. Perhaps they would balance. Their newly minted leader, I think he took all of 3 minutes to reverse himself 4 times on the question of whether or not he would balance his book, Speaker. Just yesterday, the member who's asking this question was unclear about whether under their new platform heading into the election campaign, whether they'd continue to support investments in, for example, mental health, Speaker. We have no clue at this point in time what they balance, what they would invest in, but we do know, because past practice does indicate future behaviour, Speaker. We know what Conservatives do when they get the chance. They cut, they cause havoc, they destroy lives, and they do not build, Speaker. We will not let that happen on our watch.